Hi, this is Sherry Veronica. This is a blog I received about the Queen Elizabeth Hospital and their treatment of patients. Now, let me get rid of this. Something just popped up there, yeah. Now, when people are emotionally aroused, you'll find a lot of like hiccups in the way they blog. And in this particular blog, which is kind of lengthy, maybe sometimes they were saying should not, but they forgot to put the not. But you can read along here. It's like I said, it's a pretty big blog. I only like them small and sweet and straight to the point. But this one is complaining about C6 ward. C as in cat, sits. And they're saying that sometimes a patient would call for water, they don't get water. When the food comes and the patient is sleeping, it seems as though the person who brings the food takes it back. And if someone is there but they cannot help themselves, they cannot feed themselves, the food will just stay there, and the nurses, just like probably bring the tray closer to the person, but the person cannot help themselves. So in essence, they're saying that the nurse is not going to feed your relative, okay? They're not going to be fed. And then they said that the nurses are very unmannerly, the doctors are unmannerly, the doctors are not there to answer questions when family members show up. Sometimes a family member show up and the doctors will know when visiting hours are, and they will make themselves available. If they're not on the ward, there's a phone, there are or should be a phone call away, because people will say, well, can I see the doctor or blah blah blah, and they'll be right up, kind of sort of like that. It doesn't happen. They're saying the ward is very, very hot, and family members, they have to go and buy fans, and the only ones who have fans would be the nurses, and they sit around, 3-4 of them sit around, and they just talk and not doing any kind of work. This is what this blogger is saying. I want to say this right now, I invite any nurse who is working at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital on ward C as a cat sits, reach out to me. You can respond to this particular blogger. I just, you need to keep it, real, just keep it honest. But this is what they're saying, that nurses are slacking on their job. They talked about the Nigerian nurses and how they are better than the local nurses. Okay, so like I said, you can read all about it. I had it up here for a while, and then you can stop it. See, stop it right there and read. See what they said about the Nigerian nurses and orderlies are very nice. That's what they said. And there was a time where you would have a chair next to the bed for anyone who comes to visit, that they can sit on that chair. You see, ward C6 here. They talked about the toilets. They talked about someone being called pissy here. See here, they're saying that someone was in the A&E and they witnessed a nurse telling a patient that they smell pissy, and they're saying, well, that person's really not cut out to be a nurse to say something like that to someone who's there for care. And yeah, please be my guest. Be my guest and read along, what is going on here. They're talking about bed sores, pneumonia, infections, you name it. I invite nurses to respond. You can have one. You can get together, talk, and have one nurse send me a blog or call me. My number is on every blog, and let's discuss this. These are things that should be discussed, not that it's not something that's reoccurring, because if you're being honest, you would know that this is something that has always been said about the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. And it is obvious that, well, it's not obvious, but the person who sent the blog, they're saying that the guy from England can't handle the job. The new guy, well, he's not so new, but he's still new, cannot handle the job. It's just not working out. The hospital is in a mess. So maybe, the Nation News, Barbados Today, so someone from those particular publications can go out and take another look at what's going on at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. But from reading this, it is saying things are not changing, although every now and again you will see an installment from the Queen Elizabeth Hospital that, oh, they're getting this equipment and this is happening and that is happening and blah, blah, they're going digital. People are thinking that the Queen Elizabeth Hospital is not a place to be if you are ill, if you get sick, if you need medical attention. The Queen Elizabeth Hospital is not the place to go. And with people talking about selling medical records nowadays, yeah, you probably need to have plane money, flight money to go abroad and do what you need to do, because, you know, nothing is safe and no place seems to be, you know, secure for your medical needs or your privacy needs. So yeah, a lot to think about. Okay, this is Sherry Veronica.
Help me spread the word about Naked Departure via social media. Subscribe and share to show support and love for our channels.